So in today's concept, we will be learning about circuit symbols. So what do you mean by circuit symbol? Let us consider the following circuit. Here we have a battery of two cells, two independent cells, a switch key, an ammeter connected in series, a bulb and a voltmeter connected in parallel. Now, this is a circuit diagram representing various components in an electric circuit. So, it is difficult to draw the actual picture of the circuit using the conventional things. So, what we do, we make things easier by using electrical symbols. Now, let us see what are the various electrical symbols and what are the actual components. So, we are trying to know about the symbols of some commonly used components in a circuit diagram. First of all, electric cell. Now, a typical electric cell will look somewhat like this. So, this cannot be drawn easily. So, what we do, we use a conventional symbol using a long line followed by a short line with a gap. The long line here represents the positive of the battery and the short one represents the negative of the battery. Then in the second one, we use a combination of cells. The combination of cells is called a battery. Now see, this is a battery consisting of 3 volt, 1.5 volt cells connected in series. So this is a battery. A battery is a combination of cells. Here we have 1, 2, 3 cells put together. So 1.5 volts plus 1.5 volts plus 1.5 volts. Total it is 4.5 volt common battery. Okay. Then the switch key which is used in electrical cells is a typical one. The switch key generally is shown like this. Now this is a switch key which is open. Open in the sense it does not allow the current. So here these two are represented by this part and there is nothing in between. That means the switch is not allowing the current to flow. But if we replace the switch key with a tag on it, that means this allows the current to flow and when it is kept on, the switch key is on. When this is removed, the switch key is off. So this is represented by a closed switch key. So this switch key can be simply represented in an electric circuit using two brackets followed by a dot in the middle. Dot in the middle means that the switch key is on. If this is removed, it is in off position. Okay. Then a wire joint. Generally, a wire joint is represented like this. A wire joining to the other wire is represented by a wire joint. Now when they are not joined, then we call it as a crossing. Electric bulb is known to you very clearly. Then we have a resistor. Now resistors are very small things which are used for opposing the flow of current. Now this is an example of a resistor. This resistor very clearly shows that it can offer the resistance to the flow of current. Just like we have speed breakers on the road, the resistors will offer resistance to the flow of current. Then we have got variable resistance or rheostat. Now rheostat is an instrument which is used in an electric circuit to increase or decrease the resistance. So using this, we can allow more current in the circuit. Using the same, we can use less current in the circuit. So instead of this, we use the symbol. Now here you can see this is a slider. The slider here represents this part or the arrow mark. That means if the arrow mark is at the middle, then the slider is at the middle of the rheostat. If it is at the corner, that means it is offering low resistance. If it is at the right corner, then it is offering high resistance. So a rheostat is typically represented by a resistor followed by an arrow. So this indicates the slider position. So you can either increase the current in the circuit or decrease the current in the circuit. Then we have ammeter. As I clearly shown, ammeter is an instrument which is used for measuring current. A typical ammeter looks like this, but in circuit symbols we represent ammeter like this. Okay, followed by voltmeter. Voltmeter is used to measure the potential difference across the ends. For example, I want to know what is the voltage taken by this bulb. I will connect the voltmeter in parallel to the circuit. So this voltmeter is represented with a V in between a circuit represented by positive and negative sign. Now, what we do is, we learned about potential difference, we learned about electric current. Now, we are going to study about Ohm's law. In the year 1827, a German physicist called Georg Simon Ohm wanted to establish a relation between electric current and potential difference. And then he did this using a particular activity. Let us try to know what the activity is, and then we will define Ohm's law. Now in the activity, what he actually did is, he took a battery of 3 volts and then connected it to an unknown resistor. Now as we know, a resistor is any device whose resistance is not known to us. Suppose he took a resistor like this, we don't know what is the resistance of it. So he wanted to find out what will be the resistance offered to the flow of current by this resistor. So he took a resistor, he connected the battery positive to one end of the resistor, and then to the other end he connected ammeter positive to measure the flow of current, then a switch key, a rheostat or a variable resistance to find out the amount of or to increase or decrease the voltage. So what he did was, he connected all these circuits in series and then he connected a voltmeter to find out what would be the voltage across this resistor. So using Ohm's law, we try to find out, using this particular activity, we try to find out 2 important things. 1, to find out the resistance offered by this unknown resistor. 2, to establish a relation between V and I. So after he did this particular activity, he gave the law called Ohm's law. The activity will be explained by me practically later. First let me explain Ohm's law. So according to Ohm's law, at constant temperature, the potential difference across the ends of a given metallic wire, is directly proportional in an electric circuit, is directly proportional to the current flowing through it. So the potential difference will make sure that the current in the circuit is dependent on this. That means if you increase the voltage, the current in the circuit will increase. If you decrease the voltage, the current in the circuit will decrease. So that's the reason why he said at a constant temperature. That means if the temperature remains constant, the total amount of current flowing through the circuit will be directly proportional to the voltage being supplied. That means the amount of voltage supplied by the battery, if increased, the current in the circuit will increase. If the voltage supplied by the battery is decreased, the current in the circuit is going to decrease. So from Ohm's law, we need to derive 2 important things. We need to find out the resistance offered by this unknown resistor, and second, we need to establish a relation between V and I. So according to this law, if potential difference is directly proportional to current, then V by I value will be a constant, which is equal to the resistance of this resistor. So using Ohm's law, we are trying to prove V is proportional to I, and using the same Ohm's law, we are trying to find out the value of the unknown resistance. So according to Ohm's law, V is equal to I into R. Here R is called a constant of the given metallic wire called resistance. Now let us see how it can be done. Suppose if we consider this particular circuit, using the variable resistor, I will adjust the value of current to be how much? 0.1 ampere. When I adjust the value of current to be 0.1, I will note down what is the reading of the voltmeter. Let the voltmeter reading be 0.2 volts. Sir, what is this 0.1 into 1? Suppose the reading of the ammeter is 1 and the least count of ammeter is 0.1. So the value of 0.1 into 1 will be equal to 0.1 ampere. In the same way, the potential difference value, if it is at 2, then 0.1 into 2 is equal to 0.2 volts. I will explain practically, then you will come to know. So 0.1 is the current, 0.2 is the voltage. Then if I do V by I value, 0.2 divided by 1, 0.1 is coming out to be 2. So every time if you see, in the second reading, if I adjust the current value to be 0.2 amperes, the voltage reading is coming out to be 0.5 volts. So 0.4 divided by 0.2 will come out to be 2 ohms. Then the current value is 0.3, voltage is getting doubled. So again, the ratio between V and I comes to be 2. When the current value is 0.4 amperes, the voltmeter reading is 0.8 volts. The current value, 0.8 by 0.4 will be coming out to be as 2. So that means the V by I value is coming out to be a constant. So the total resistance R will be equal to the average of these 5 divided by 5. So R is equal to 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 divided by 5. So the value of this unknown resistor in this particular activity comes out to be 2 ohms. Now, one thing is known that the value of this unknown resistor came out to be how much? 2 ohms. Now I have to establish a relation between voltage and current. So for which what I do is I draw a graph between the various voltage values and the current values. What are the voltage values which I got? 0.2, 0.4, 0.6, 0.8 and 1. So I am placing these values on the y-axis and the corresponding current values are written on the x-axis. So when the current value is 0.1, the value of voltage is 0.2. So corresponding values are kept and I got the slope, that is the ratio between V and I as a straight line. So if I want to find out the resistance at any particular quantity, I will find out the slope of this graph. How to find out the slope of this graph? The value of the y-axis divided by the value of x-axis. So if I want to find out the resistance at any particular point, I need to draw a line parallel to the x-axis and a line parallel to the y-axis. The ratio between these two will give me the resistance of this particular value. So here y-axis value is 0.6, x-axis value is 0.3, which comes out to be 2 ohms. So experimentally I got the resistance as 2 ohms, graphically also I got the resistance of 2 ohms. Here this 2 ohms is the resistance offered to the flow of current by this unknown resistor. So using Ohm's law, what did we find? We find out two things. One is we found the value of this unknown resistor, and in the same way we also found the relation between V and Y, which is a straight line. So using this VI graph, we can say that the resistance is always a constant value. Now through this activity, what we found, the resistance was 2 ohms. So let us now understand what is meant by the definition of resistance. The property of a conductor to resist the flow of charges through it is defined as resistance. For example, when I connected this resistor, now this is called conductor. Generally, we represent resistors by this particular symbol in electric circuit. So this resistor offered resistance to the flow of current, and the value came out to be how much in our activity? 2 ohms. So the property of a conductor to resist the flow of charges through it is called resistance. That means if it is able to allow only some amount of current passing through it and offered resistance, we call that property of this particular conductor as resistance. The SI unit is ohm, represented by the Greek letter omega. So according to Ohm's law, if I want to find out the resistance of a particular conductor, then I should divide the voltage with the total amount of current. Now when I say resistance is equal to V by I, what is the value of 1 ohm? So if the potential difference across the ends of a conductor is 1 volt, that means if I am applying a potential difference of 1 volt across this conductor and the current is 1 ampere flowing through it, then the resistance of the conductor is said to be 1 ohm. That means when will I say the resistance offered by a conductor is 1 ohm? When 1 ampere of current flows across a potential difference of 1 volt, we say the resistance offered to the flow of 1 ampere of current is 1 ohm. So symbolically 1 ohm is equal to 1 volt by 1 ampere. And we also know V is equal to IR from Ohm's law. So voltage is equal to current into resistance. So V by I is equal to R. That is, resistance is inversely proportional to current. That means if I double the resistance, the current will reduce to half, and the value of current is more. If the value of current is double, then the resistance will become half. We need to increase or decrease the current in a circuit. Suppose I have a circuit in which I want to increase or decrease the current in the circuit. Then I can use two things. One is the variable resistor. This is similar to the regulator of your fan. So if you want more amount of flow of the current inside the fan, then you put it in 5. And when you try to reduce the number to 1, the less amount of current flows and the voltage remains same. So a component used to regulate the current without changing the voltage is known as variable resistor. Whereas in a circuit, if you want to increase or decrease the amount of resistance, we use a object called a rheostat. So one thing to be kept in mind is a variable resistor and a rheostat. Both can be used to increase the decrease or current in the circuit or the resistance in the circuit. Then let us understand the concept of resistance in a more simple way. Suppose I have a metallic wire. Now inside the metallic wire we have atoms which are represented by the dark letters, and we have electrons which are moving randomly. That means when a metallic wire is not connected in a circuit, the electrons move in different directions and they collide with each other. They are not in one particular direction. But if I establish a potential difference using a battery to the metallic wire, the electrons will all drift in a particular direction. That means the motion of electrons is in one particular direction. So when these electrons move, we call that they are having a drift speed. That means, what is meant by drift speed? The average speed with which the electrons drift in a conductor having potential difference across its end is called drift speed. Now here the speed of the electrons is approximately 10 power 5 meters per second. That means when they are in random motion, the electrons are at much higher speed. When they are not connected to a cell or a battery, they move in different directions, they collide with each other. But when a potential difference is established, the electrons will move in a particular direction. But while moving in a particular direction, these electrons sometimes collide with the atoms or the ions in their way. When they collide with these atoms or ions in their way, the resistance is offered to the flow of current. So this collision will offer the resistance to the flow of current. That is when we say resistance is going to happen. So that is the cause of resistance. So first let us understand what is drift speed. The average speed with which the electrons drift in a conductor having potential difference across its end is called drift speed. So here the electrons are having drift speed. It is very less. The value of drift speed of electron is 10 power minus 4 meters per second. That means in 1 second they are moving very slowly at the rate of 10 power minus 4 meters. But whereas in random motion, when there is no potential difference, the speed of the electron is how much? 10 power 5 meters per second. So one thing to be understood is, when a conductor is not connected, the valence electrons move in random motion and they are moving with a speed of 10 power 5. But when they are applied with a potential difference, their drift speed drastically decreases. That is 10 power 4 meters per second. That is, the strength of the current is very low. That means drift speed indicates only the strength of the current. But one thing to be remembered is, drift speed is not equal to the strength of the current. The speed of the current is generally 3 into 10 power 8 meters per second. That means when you switch on the switch, the bulb will glow quickly because the speed of current is always 3 into 10 power 8 meters per second. Drift speed is the speed at which electrons move when connected in a circuit, and random motion of electrons is the speed of the electrons when they are not at all connected in a circuit. So these three things will explain us what is the concept of resistance. Now let us try to learn how to experimentally determine Ohm's law. Now this is the circuit showing Ohm's law. We have the battery consisting of two cells of 1.4 volt each. Then we have rheostat, a switch key, an ammeter, an unknown resistor, and a voltmeter connected in parallel to it. So let us actually see how the setup looks like. Now the battery here consists of 4 cells, but this is a 3 volt battery. Now you can see here the positive and the negative. The positive of the battery is connected to the resistor. Now you can see the positive of the battery is connected to one end of the resistor. Okay. Similarly, the other end of the resistor, here the other end of the resistor is connected to ammeter positive. Always remember that the positive of the battery should be connected to the positive of the ammeter. So I am saying the resistor is connected to the positive of the ammeter and the negative of the ammeter is connected to the switch key. The switch key's other end is connected to the rheostat. So according to the circuit diagram, I have connected the battery to the resistor to the ammeter positive, ammeter negative to the switch key other end is connected to the rheostat, and the other end of the rheostat is connected with the help of a wire to the negative terminal of the battery. So this is a simple closed circuit. So in this particular circuit, everything are in series. But if you observe carefully, that voltmeter is connected across the resistor in parallel. So let us see whether it is connected in parallel or not. So the positive end of the voltmeter is connected to one end of the resistor, and the other end negative of the voltmeter is connected to the other end. So our intention is to know what is the value of this particular resistor and also to find out the relation between V and I. So what I do is, using this variable resistor, now here it is offering least amount of current, that means maximum resistance is there. Now when I switch it on, when I switch the switch key on, you can see that the ammeter is showing certain amount of reading. So what is the reading here? It is showing that the third line is being indicated here. So first we should know what is the least count of this ammeter. It is having a total range of 5 and there are 50 equal divisions. So what is the range of this ammeter? What is the least count? So least count is equal to range by number of divisions. So what is the range of this ammeter? 5 divided by 50, which is equal to 1 by 10. So one division here indicates 0.1 amperes. So if you see the reading in the ammeter is the third division. So what is the reading of the ammeter here? 0.3 amperes. Similarly, we go to the voltmeter and see the reading of it. Okay, the voltmeter is also showing a range of 0. So least count of the voltmeter is equal to range divided by number of divisions. So what is the range of the voltmeter? It is equal to 5 divided by how many divisions are there? 0 to 110, 1 to 210. So like that we have 50 divisions. So one single line represents 0.1 volts. That means here one single line on this voltmeter is equal to 0.4. Now what is the reading here? It is represented on the third line. So again it is 0.3 volts. So what is V by I value? 0.3 divided by 0.3. So what is the resistance of this resistor? It comes out to be 1 ohm. So the value of this particular resistor here is coming out to be 1 ohm. Now let us increase the resistance. Let us change the current. The current in the circuit can be changed by using the slider of the rheostat. That means if I move this slider, the current value will either increase or decrease. Now observe the reading on the ammeter here. How much is it showing? It is showing the fourth division. Okay. What is the reading in the voltmeter? It is also showing the fourth division. So what will I write? 0.4 ampere, 0.4 volt. So 0.4 divided by 0.4. Again I got 1 ohm. Now adjust this slider position again. I will adjust it in such a way that the ammeter value will increase again. What is the reading here? 0.5 amperes. Again observe the reading on the voltmeter. It is also 0.5. So record the observation. 0.5 amperes, 0.5 volts. V by I is how much? 0.5 divided by 0.5 equal to 1 ohm. So like this you can increase the current in the circuit or decrease the current in the circuit by adjusting the slider position. Again now see the reading. How much is it? 0.6. Again in the voltmeter it is showing to be how much? 0.6. So record the value again. 0.6 ampere and 0.6 ampere. So 0.6 by 0.6 equal to 1 ohm. Now what we do is, after this experiment is done, we need to draw a graph. So let us now draw. So once we noted down the observations, that is the least count into number of divisions will give the value of ammeter, and the least count of the voltmeter into the divisions will give you the value of voltmeter. Now in our experiment we got the values like this. By doing V by I values, 0.1 by 0.1, 0.2 by 0.2, 0.3 by 0.3, 0.4 by 0.4 and 0.5 by 0.5. We calculated and we always got a constant. Now this constant of V by R is called the resistance. That means the resistance offered by the conductor to the flow of current in this particular case is 1 ohm. Now, this 1 ohm can be averaged by using all these values. So 1 ohm plus 1 ohm plus 1 ohm to know the final resistance. It is equal to 5 by 5, which is equal to 1 ohm. Then what we do, once we know the unknown resistance, we will try to draw a graph between V by I using the values which we got. So, if V by I value is a straight line, okay, then we can say the resistance is constant. If this is not a straight line, then the resistance is never constant. But from Ohm's law, V by I should be always a straight line representing the resistance. So, the slope of the graph at any point of time, say for example, y-axis divided by x-axis at any point will give me the resistance using the graph. So, what is the resistance value of this particular resistor in this case? Y-axis value divided by x-axis value. So, 0.3 by 0.3, voltage divided by current. Here also we got it as 1 ohm. So, theoretically we got the resistance as 1 ohm. Practically we got the resistance of 1 ohm. So, this proves Ohm's law. So, in this particular experimental setup, we have used a battery of 2 cells, unknown resistor. So, we have found out the value of this particular resistor. We have connected it to the ammeter, followed by a switch key and followed by a rheostat. So, using this rheostat, we are able to increase or decrease the current in the ammeter, and we are able to change the voltage in the voltmeter. So, this is how Ohm's law is done experimentally. The values are being recorded accordingly, and then the graph showing the Ohm's law can be drawn using this particular way. So, in this way, we can not only find out the resistance of the unknown resistor, but also we can find out the mathematical relation of Ohm's law.